Hi everyone. Thank you for being early. Uh, I think in a couple of minutes we are going to start. So please patiently wait till then. Just allow a couple of more people to join in. I heard Preet. I think just one more minute to go, and then we'll quickly ramp up the process and start off with the webinar. Hi Rosalia. Hi Harsh. Hi Mohandeep. Hi Sanju. Hi Viji. Hi Naomi. So till everybody starts being, I think it will take a couple of more minutes for people to start joining us. So what we have planned is we are going to just have a little bit of quiz for us in a position to understand your needs better, where our participants are coming from, and what is the best way we can support them. So we are going to run a very small quiz at the starting. It will also give others the chance who have registered kind of opt in and start watching the webinar. I'm pretty sure they must be busy somewhere and they are on their way to kind of make it to the webinar. But we'll be playing a small little quiz that will enable us to help you better. So we are going to start off with the quiz, a quick poll. So for the users who have joined us on mobile, the quiz will appear or the question will appear down below. For the people who have joined us from a desktop or a laptop, the quiz is going to appear on the right hand side of your screen. So for starters, what we are going to do is we are going to have this question which is going to be up. Okay, let me know when you are able to see this. Okay, so can you please indicate that which type of organization are you from? Whether it is a private university, a deemed university, an engineering college, a medical college, an arts and science college, or whether it is a group institution or it's a private language school. Let's have a quick demographic here that where our audience is coming from. Okay, I think private universities are at a steady 15%. Just gonna give it a couple of more seconds for everybody to respond. I think a few more people are joining us as we speak. So just gonna give it a couple of more seconds, let's say 10 seconds. Those people who have not answered, if you can just quickly submit your responses, that would be great. Oh, okay, we have around 20% private universities and around 22% private language schools and around 16% group institutions. Right, thanks for the response. Quickly jumping over to the next question or the next poll here. So next poll, pretty simple and plain and straightforward. That how important do you think is English language proficiency in the career success of your students? Does it play a very important role, or maybe it's not that important? Maybe it plays an important role, whether it is not important or so. Quickly gonna have that. All right. I yeah. Monica, ma'am, if you could just respond on the poll itself, that would be great. Okay. So I think 82% people have responded that it's very important. Rest 15% are on important. So actually, this poll tells us a lot that what is the audience thinking. So this is a fairly important question to us, that what are the challenges which are faced by you, because this will enable us to understand what are the areas where we could support you. So one option is better placement for students, falling enrollment rates, whether it is improving faculty standards or going global to face international competition. That is one of the options. I think most of the people are leaning on towards going global, but yeah, placement is also one of the issues that people find is a challenge. Yeah. So a little insight. All these polls, we are going to provide you insights at the end. So if you have any questions relating to the questions or the polls that we have said, please reserve it till the end. In the end, we are going to have a Q&A session where we will be taking down all the questions. So till then, hold the questions. In the end, we are going to cater to all those questions that you might have. So I'm a bit conscious of time. Quickly gonna jump towards the next question or the next poll here. Okay, so what is the reason you want to improve? Since many people said that English is really important, what would be the reason that you think is appropriate for improving the English communication skills for your students? Again, if you will notice, all the questions are tied together. So they all go hand in hand, and we are going to kind of explain it throughout our presentation that why it is so important and what can you do about it. There is a unique proposition associated to the question. So I think let's go for the last poll and then we will hand over to this. Continuing. Okay. There's just one more question after this. Just want to kind of confirm that, do you think English language certification is important for your students? Whether it is a yes or a maybe or a no, feel free to respond to that. And just after this would be question of the hour that you want to collaborate with us. Quickly gonna reset this and start the question that would you like to collaborate with us? Yes or no? I still believe that there are a few maybes. I think by the end of the presentation, you will have a much clearer idea of what is in it for you when with respect to collaboration. So with that, till the time we start looking in the questions, I would like to request Manish, the head of this department South Asia for assessment English, take over from here. Manish.
Thank you, Apoor, and a very good afternoon to everybody who's joined in today and taken out time to be with us this afternoon. Uh, First of all, apologies, Miss Sue could not join us because of bad health, and we have here with us today Mr. Ian Colley, who also is a colleague in the same department, and Ian heads the global product manager as a global product manager, and he's based out of the Cambridge office. So thank you, Ian, for joining us today and taking our time. We also have today with us regional director for the South Asia region, Mr. TK Arunachalam. And you have already been listening to my colleague Apoor, who is the head for marketing for the South Asia region. And finally, we also have Mr. Joshua, who is the client relation manager for West India. And lastly, it's me here, Manish. I work again with the Cambridge English team. I lead with the uh, business front for the South Asia region. Again, I'm based in Delhi. So before we start, before I hand it over to Ian, I would just want to give you a brief overview of what we are looking at today. So we will start with Ian, who will be giving us telling us about the new solutions from Cambridge. We will pass it on to Joshua, who would be talking about the Collaborate initiative that you all have been invited for, and how that initiative will help the institutions in India and also you as a head or a leader, what benefits are there for you. And in the end, Mr. Arun will invite the question and answers that you may have and also give you an opportunity to see how you can collaborate with us on this initiative. So thank you once again, and over to Ian now.
Great. Thank you very much, Manish. It's a real pleasure to be with you today and to have the opportunity to speak to you about Linguaskill. So let me just move on to the beginning of the presentation. Okay. Let's go through these slides and get to the beginning. Okay, great. We got there in the end. So, as Manish mentioned, my name is Ian Corley, and I'm a global product manager working for Cambridge Assessment based in Cambridge in the UK. This is a picture of Cambridge University. This is King's College. And at Cambridge Assessment English, we are very proud to be part of the University of Cambridge. We are a department of the university, which I'm sure you will know has been in existence for many hundreds of years. And we have been involved in English language teaching and assessment for more than 100 years. So the university and Cambridge Assessment in particular is very proud of the fact that our language assessments have been based over many, many years of study, and we have the largest research department of any examination board found anywhere in the world. And because of this, our qualifications are internationally accepted and respected as the quality standard for English language assessment, and that's why they are widely accepted by governments and educational authorities all across the world. More than 4 million people take our exams every year, and we're very proud of the fact that we have people taking our exams in every corner of the world, and because of that, we ensure that our exams are fair for everyone, no matter what their cultural background is, or indeed what their level of English is. We have a solution to help them. So we live in interesting times. Of course, we're all dealing at the moment with the COVID pandemic, and this has really only helped us to focus on the fact that we are now part of what is called the fourth industrial revolution. Many pieces of research have shown that at the moment there is a big skills gap in corporations between what is required in order to run the world as we gain more technological advancements, and also the research has shown that many of the skills that we learn today are only worth about half the length of time that they were in the past. And many of us will be changing our careers 3 or 4 times during our lifespan, whereas before people would have one job, one set of skills, and that would necessarily be their job for life. However, regardless of the fact that there is a skills gap, and regardless of the fact that we will need to retrain as part of our career, there are some important facts which remain true. This is a mind map, and we use this mind map to canvass the opinion of many professionals around the world to look at the skills that were important now and will be even more important in the future. You can see that the vast majority of these skills are soft skills, and you can see that communication is very important here. It's front and center, which means that creating a new workforce which is more focused on soft skills, able to solve problems, collaborate, innovate, but also communicate, both with peers and internationally, is going to be even more important in the future. This chart, I'll just give you a few moments to have a look at this, give us some really important and interesting statistics about the way that English will help to shape the economy and education in the future. You can see here, if we look in the second column, in terms of the number of people that speak English, more than 1.75 million people can now speak English to a useful level. And this just really helps to emphasize the fact that English is now the lingua franca. It's the language of business. It's the language of internationalization. And it's really important that students leave university with the right language skills, and that workforces are trained so that they have the language skills required to meet the demands of the future. This was an interesting study that we did, which was looking into the current skills gap that employers feel there is currently in the world. So if we look at the second bar chart here in dark blue, which I think is very poignant for India, this looks at countries where English is an official language. And you can see that most employers feel that 59% of employers feel that there is a skills gap in terms of the level of English communication skills that their employers currently have and what is required. And you can see here, if we look at the light blue section, even in English-speaking countries like the UK, you can see that most employers feel that there is a 22% skills gap between the level of English skills that employees currently have and what is required. So English, as it has always been, continues to be really key to the job market, to employability, and also to help countries and economies grow in the future. So as part of learning a language, we at Cambridge Assessment feel that assessments play a key role in this. And assessments can be used in a number of different ways. They can help us to define the requirements for our learning. What exactly is it that we need to assess? What do students need to learn? Those important communication skills, writing and speaking in English, for example. Assessments can help to build confidence, because if you take a language assessment and if you pass that language assessment, you can feel confident that you're able to prove that you have the level of English that you thought you had, and you can take that with you when you want to try and find a job in the job market. They also give a great sense of achievement, because if at the end of your course you can take an assessment and you can achieve a good mark in that assessment, you really feel like you've achieved something. And it's also a great motivational factor on language courses. We find that those language courses which have an assessment at the end, it really builds motivation amongst students, and motivation, as we all know, is key to learning. They can also help make teaching relevant and practical, because they can help you to shape the curriculum. If you know the types of skills which are going to be tested as part of an assessment, that helps you to build your curriculum and build a communicative teaching approach to your lessons. Assessments can also show progress. You can see what students have learned so far on their course, and it helps you to focus on the particular needs for the future. So if you've got students who perhaps need to brush up on their spoken skills, that will become apparent as you use assessments on part of the course, and it helps you to set goals. And also the idea of of setting goals aligned to your needs. You can use assessments in any way that you see fit to help you to develop your learning, your training, and to give your students the boost that they need for gaining employment. So we're very proud at Cambridge Assessment English to be part of something called Cambridge ALTA, which is the Institute for Automated Language Teaching and Assessment. We've partnered with 3 other departments of the university, the Computer Laboratory, the Department of Engineering, and the Department of Theoretical and Applied Linguistics, to look at using AI, artificial intelligence, AI solutions in all of our examinations and learning products. And this is going to be really the theme of what I talk about today. And I'm going to give you lots of examples of how we use the latest cutting-edge AI technology in our learning and assessments. So this brings me nicely on to talk about Linguaskill, which is the latest assessment product to come out of Cambridge Assessment English. And we really do believe that this is the online and accurate English test with fast results. So let me tell you a little bit more about Linguaskill. As I mentioned, Linguaskill is an online assessment, which means that students take it through their computer connected to the internet. It's a modular test, which means that you can decide which skills you would like to assess. There is one test which combines listening and reading together. That's one module. And there are separate modules for writing and speaking. And these modules can be taken in any combination. So you could do just speaking on its own, or just writing on its own, or combine that with the listening and reading test, or teach all, or test all 4 skills. The flexibility is there for you to use. There are 2 versions of Linguaskill. We have Linguaskill General, which is a test of everyday English, and we have Linguaskill Business, which is a test of business English. Linguaskill General could be seen as being more suitable for university students on arts courses. So perhaps a student who's studying on an English program or a languages program could take the general test, whereas students perhaps with a background in economics or business would be more suited to take the Linguaskill Business test. Both tests are of exactly the same levels of difficulty. It's just that one has the context of general English and the other has the context of business English. Both are available for students, whichever one you feel best suits their needs. I also mentioned previously that Linguaskill is a multi-level test. And what that means is that unlike some of our other qualifications that you might be aware of, with Linguaskill, you use one test to test students of any level of ability. So students who are of a perhaps low level or an elementary level of English, all the way up to those which feel quite proficient in the language, we can use one test to test all those needs. And that makes Linguaskill very practical and easy for you to administer, because you don't need to worry about the level of the students before you take the test. Everybody can sit the same exam. And I'm going to explain to you a little bit more about how that's possible. So let's take a little bit of time to look at this diagram. On the left-hand side of the diagram, you can see what's called the CEFR, or the Common European Framework of Reference. And these are the letters and numbers from pre-A1, A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, and C2. And these define levels of proficiency. And Cambridge Assessment English was one of the founder members of ALTE, the Association of Language Testers in Europe. And we developed this scale. So, for example, students who have a basic knowledge of English would be of a A1 or A2 level. Those that have a more independent level of English would be B2 or B1. And then those who have a much higher independent, much more high level of proficiency would be C1 and C2. And you can see that we have lots of qualifications, both for school-age children, for adults. And also here you can see Linguaskill as a yellow bar, which covers all levels of the CFR. But we've taken this one stage further because we know that these CFR levels are quite broad. It could take anything between 100 and 200 hours of study to move from one level to the next. And so we've introduced what's called the Cambridge English Scale. And this is the measure that you can see next to the CFR. And what we've done here is that we've broken each of these CFR levels down into 20 points. And that means that we are able to pinpoint a student's ability level within each of these CFR levels. So we can say whether somebody is at the beginning, the middle, or the end of one of these CFR levels. But as I mentioned, the great thing about Linguaskill is it's a multi-level test, one test that can be used with all levels of proficiency, and all students will benefit from taking that one test. So at Cambridge, these four elements of validity, reliability, impact, and practicality are at the heart of what we do. And I mentioned that we have the largest research department of any examination board in the world, and we ensure that all our exams are aligned with these four key elements. So when I talk about validity, this is, can the exam do what it says it's going to do? So we mentioned that Linguaskill is a multi-level exam, which means that it can be taken from students of all ability levels, and they will get an accurate result, and it tests reading, writing, listening, and speaking. We can prove that Linguaskill is valid because we've trialed the exam on speakers of over 40 languages in 50 different countries around the world, and we have a huge amount of data which we've used to create it. The test is reliable, and what that means is it doesn't matter how many people take the test, the results will always be the same. So we want to ensure that our tests are always reliable, and therefore they are fair to everybody who takes it around the world. Our exams have an impact on teaching and learning. I mentioned that we have a very communicative approach to the way that we create our exams, which means that when students take our exams, they really need to use the language that they've learned in a very practical and communicative way. And therefore, we're sure that our exams have an important impact on learning and teaching. And I also mentioned that Linguaskill is very practical. It's an online test. It's on demand. You decide when and where the test is taken, making it very practical for you to administer. So let's look a little bit at that adaptive testing technology. I mentioned that Linguaskill is a test that can be used with students of all ability levels. Well, how's that possible? We have developed a very powerful algorithm that drives the Linguaskill test. And you can see that when students take the test, all the students will begin with a question of around A2 level of ability. And if they get that question right, the next question is a little bit more difficult. If they get that question right, the next question will be a little bit more difficult. If they get that wrong, the next question will be easier. And the algorithm goes through this process until the level of the students has been attained. Now, there are lots of advantages of testing in this way. First of all, the Linguaskill item bank, the question bank, contains many, many thousands of test items, all tagged with different levels of difficulty. And what that means is that no two students taking the test at the same time will ever see the same questions in the same order. That means that the test is tailored to their particular needs. And that happens every time the test is taken. Each test is tailored exactly to the requirements of the student. That makes for a much better testing experience for the students. If you can imagine that every time you answer a question, the next question will be challenging for you, but within the range that you will be able to answer it. This makes a very motivating experience because you really feel that you can achieve a lot in the test. It also adds a lot to the test security because as I mentioned, no two tests will ever be the same. It makes it very difficult for students to cheat because they're not seeing the same questions on screen. And as I mentioned before, it means that every test is specifically tailored to the needs of that student. Linguaskill is the only test in the market which has such a powerful algorithm and is able to create tailored tests in this way. There's no other test available on the market that does this. We also use AI technology to create a powerful auto marker which is used to assess students in certain parts of the test. I talked a little bit about the algorithm, but in the writing test that students face, where they are asked to create two responses, a short response, which is like an email, and a longer response, which is something like a report or an essay. That is marked 100% by our auto marker here in Cambridge. We fed the auto marker literally tens of thousands of pieces of data from all our exams. I mentioned that over 4 million people every year take our exams, and we're able to feed all that data into our auto marker to train it. And what this means is our auto marker can assess students quickly, incredibly accurately, and in a very reliable way. The auto marker never gets tired. It always marks to the same standard, giving very accurate and reliable results. And we're very proud of it. And again, just like the algorithm we use, this is the only test in the world which uses such a powerful auto marker to mark student responses. We've also have remote proctoring available. And Linguaskill is a secure test. It needs to be taken under secure exam conditions. Now, in the world before the COVID pandemic, this would often mean that students would meet together in an exam room and they would take the exam under exam conditions. But we've reacted very quickly to the COVID pandemic in introducing remote proctoring, which is available, meaning that students can take the test at home under secure conditions, and you can be assured that the results that they get are fair and accurate as they've been proctored during the exam. Should also mention that during the COVID pandemic, Linguaskill is the one Cambridge test which has gained numbers of candidates week on week. We've done literally tens of thousands of Linguaskill exams during the COVID pandemic, proving that it's a great resource for situations such as this. We all hope that the COVID pandemic will go away very quickly, but I think the idea of home learning and taking assessments at home will be with us for a very long time. And we've already reacted with this great product which can be taken at home using remote proctoring technology. Linguaskill gives you very fast results. The listening and reading test gives you instant results, which means as soon as a student has finished taking the test, their results are available for you. With the writing test, which is marked using our AI auto marker, we guarantee the results back within 4 hours. Actually, we think that the results come back much more quickly than that. In many cases, I've seen the results coming back in a matter of minutes, but we guarantee that 4 hours is the longest you will ever have to wait. The speaking test is currently marked with a combination of human raters based in Cambridge. We have a large team of very experienced examiners, and 10% of the speaking responses are also marked using an auto marker. We guarantee speaking test results within 48 hours, but actually we feel that the tests are usually back much more quickly than that, within 12 hours, if not more quickly. So that means that if you take a 4 skills Linguaskill test, the longest time you'd ever have to wait for your results is 48 hours, but generally your results will be back much more quickly than that. Let's look a little bit at the reporting now. There are 2 reports available with Linguaskill. What you can see on screen now is what we call the Linguaskill test report, and this is available to all students who take Linguaskill. You can see at the top there is an average score section, and depending on the modules that have been taken, I mentioned that there's reading and listening, speaking and writing, and you can decide which of those modules you want to use. The average score is based across the modules that students have taken. So in this case, the student has taken listening, reading and speaking, and the average score is based on those 3 modules. You receive a score on the Cambridge English scale, a CFR level, and then there is a bar chart here that shows you exactly where the student is within that CFR level. So you can see that this student is at B1 level, but towards the top of B1. You also get an individual breakdown of scores for each of the modules. So again, for each skill, listening, reading, and speaking, the student has a score on the Cambridge English scale, a CFR level, and the bar chart showing where they are within that level. But also, they receive some more detailed information. These descriptions that you can see here are unique to each candidate and give a description of what they're able to do with the language they have at each level. These are called can-do statements, and they've been designed to work closely with the CFR. So for each CFR level, there is a range of can-do descriptors which tell students what they're able to do with the language they've got. It describes what they're able to do with their speaking skills, their reading, writing, and listening skills as well. So that's an in-depth test report form which gives a lot of detail to students. We've also created what we call a group report. And in this report, it gives the same information as the individual report, but for a group or cohort of students. So as I mentioned before, you can use Linguaskill with a whole range of students. It doesn't matter what their proficiency level is. So if you've got a class of students, all with different levels of English, they can all take Linguaskill, and you'll be able to produce this report showing you exactly where each of the students are. You can export this to an Excel document, and then you could do some more research based on the results. If you wanted to find out the mean or median score in a group of students, that can be done very easily using this group report. And we've also got what we call the Linguaskill results checking service. So if you're an employer and you want to check that the Linguaskill results that a student is presenting to you are actually the results that they got, you can simply enter the results into this website and it will give the students results. So it's an extra level of security that you can use to check that the results are valid. Now I wanted to tell you a little bit about some of the learning that we have available with Linguaskill. The first thing that I wanted to mention was the Linguaskill online course. This is a great resource for any students who want to improve their English as well as preparing for the Linguaskill test. We have a listening and reading module which is available now. That provides 20 hours of study. There are going to be speaking and writing modules available from October, so in only a week or so's time. They will add an extra 10 hours each. And then from January, we're going to be adding even more content to the course, meaning that you will have over 50 hours of practice in not only the Linguaskill test, with lots of examples of the different question types, but lots of vocabulary, grammar practice, as well as some unique practice tests. So this is a great resource for students who want to improve their English, work from home. It's a self-study course. You can integrate this into your curriculum and gives really great practice for Linguaskill. We've also got a whole range of free resources for learners and teachers on our website. And if you haven't had the opportunity to have a look before, I'd really recommend you go to cambridgeenglish.org and have a look. Over here on the left-hand side of the screen, we've got two products called Write and Improve and Speak and Improve. And these are fantastic resources which use the same AI technology that are in the Linguaskill test. With Write and Improve, we've added lots of Linguaskill type activities to this. Students are given a task, lots of different levels of ability. There are tasks for beginners, intermediate, advanced students. They write their answer using the keyboard, and then the AI technology checks their answer and gives them feedback on their use of grammar, vocabulary, punctuation, sentence structure, how well they've answered the question. And then students get the opportunity to write again, and then they get more feedback, and their progress is shown graphically on screen. So as the name suggests, they really get the opportunity to write and improve and then write again. And the same goes for Speak and Improve. This uses the same AI technology that we use in the speaking exam. Students wear a headset with a microphone, just as I'm doing today. They interact with the computer. They get lots of Linguaskill type practice. They speak, their response is recorded. The auto marker gives them feedback on their fluency, pronunciation, etc. Then they get the opportunity to speak again, and they get more feedback. So 2 really great resources, good practice for Linguaskill and free of charge on our website. We've also got lots of other great resources. We have a series of lesson plans for teachers. We've got some sort of short 20-minute videos which I've prepared, taking you through different parts of the exam and how you can face different question types, etc. And lots of practice tests here for students as well. So I'd say over 100 hours worth of resources here that you can use with your teachers and with your learners. I wanted to finish my presentation by telling you about some case studies of how Linguaskill is being used in practice. This is a fantastic example taken from Nanyang Technological University in Singapore, and they use Linguaskill with their postgraduate students. So they have lots of students who are coming from other parts of the world to study at the university in Singapore. They want to ensure that their students have the right level of English before they start their course, and they use Linguaskill as a way of assessing their English language skills. Linguaskill also gives them feedback on their strengths and weaknesses, and then they develop language programs to help the students to improve those skills before taking Linguaskill again and then joining their course. So that's a great example of how Linguaskill is being used internationally by universities. It's also being used by our corporate clients, and this is a great example from Air France. We've worked with Air France for many years, and Linguaskill has been embedded in their language training programs. They've also done something called a language benchmark or language audit, whereby they've used Linguaskill to determine the level of English that is required for different jobs within the airline. And they've used that information as part of their promotion strategy. So if you are a member of the Air France cabin crew, for example, and you would like to go for a promotion, you need to take Linguaskill and prove that you have the English skills required for the more senior position. And that's used as part of the process of gaining the promotion. So they're not just using it on their language training programs, they're using it to profile the English skills required for jobs, and then using it to help make decisions around job promotions. And actually, Linguaskill is being used by lots of organizations all around the world. Here are some examples from the higher education sector, from corporate clients, and from government ministries. Linguaskill is a truly international exam, and because it's a multi-level test and because it's available online, it's really flexible and can be used with a whole host of different reasons. So that's it from me. I'd like to hand over to my colleague Josh now, who's going to give you a little bit more information about how you can work together with Cambridge. So thank you very much, Josh.
Yes, Ian, thank you very much for giving it. Thank you for taking us through about the product, and welcome everybody. Yeah, Ian will be back when the question time starts. So we're quickly going to have a look at how you can collaborate with Cambridge in India. So what are the challenges that are in front of a higher education institution in India? Today, we know that the number of many technical institutions are reducing the number of seats that they have in their control, and so is the because the enrollment ratio is dropping. So this is a real challenge because there's a huge investment in infrastructure and in a lot of other things that has got stuck, and people are not. The second challenge, I think, is the language barrier. Companies keep complaining that the students coming out of these colleges are not able to speak or communicate in English, and that is a big challenge. And we repeatedly hear about challenges with faculty development, or the faculty in teaching in the colleges are not able to teach their students the correct in the correct language and in the correct right of skills. To add to this, with the national education policy that is coming in, we have a challenge that is the global. We are going to be going global, which means our competitors are going to be not going to be just from India. We are going to have foreign universities to be coming in. Also, we're going to have multidisciplinary learning. So a student will be able to skip from one line of study to another, which is in certain countries is already available. Government is planning of bringing up something like that in this system. So how do we counter that, or how can this collaboration with Cambridge help you improve that area of support? So we thought we'll look at some areas that we can collaborate. So by improving your English communication skills of your students, we feel that we will be able to enhance the employability of your student. So the campus placement in your campuses are much better. We can help you go international because we can help your syllabus get aligned to the Common European Framework. So the learning outcomes that are defined, so you will be able to say this is the type of students that we take into our courses, and this is the type of students we produce out. So there's a clear learning outcome, and there's a clear mapping of what the learning that's happening inside the university. We can support you with faculty development. We will talk about it later. So your faculty are just not skilled, that they are also able to deliver the training at the highest levels, and that they are of the world, and that they are at world-class standards. You could create a center of excellence inside your institute where you can become a node of language learning for people around in the neighboring areas. People from the neighboring territories can come and learn this, and not only people from your institute, but also from the neighboring area. So this would mean that it becomes another source of income. It is a SBU, a strategic business unit of its own. So when you want to collaborate with us, there are two very clear paths that we have. I will take you through the path. So in the first path, you would become a Cambridge partner, and you would only prepare students for Cambridge exams. So the path one is where you become a Cambridge partner, and your role would be preparing students for the Cambridge certifications. Your trainers in your college, in your institution, would be training the students, and at the end of the training, they would appear for a Cambridge certification, and the certification would be delivered by one of our partners. The second part that we are talking about is that you can become the authorized partner because you're a learning institution. You have your own exams department, you have your own staff who are in charge of exams, and if you have the volumes, then you can surely become an authorized partner, meaning you will not only just deliver the training, but you will also be able to deliver the exam for Cambridge. So this is the sort of business opportunity that we are going to give it to you. So what we do, how do you start this, or the steps in becoming a Cambridge partner? First, we would share with you a letter of intent at the end of this webinar. If you register for the letter, if you sign up with a letter of intent, then our team members from the specific region connected to you will reach out to you, and they will work with you and support you to decide the correct path that you need to take. Whether you would want to go through path one and be only a preparation partner, or whether you want to go and become a partner for delivering our assessments. So once you've chosen your path and you become a partner, we can help you with some sort of student interaction where we will be able to take the training. We will be able to introduce your students about Cambridge and the benefits of Cambridge certifications. And once the students have been introduced, we'll also be simultaneously running teacher trainings for you. So your teachers will be able to then train your students and deliver the training in your own campus or on the platforms that you're using for doing the online classes these days. And once that is done, our Cambridge partner, or if you have become the partner, by then you would also have become a partner and you are ready to deliver the exams. So what happens when we do that is your students get a Linguaskill certificate or a Cambridge certificate like Beck, and you would also be able to become a Cambridge partner. You will become an authorized Cambridge partner to deliver Linguaskills. Where would you collaborate? Where would you use these courses? In our past experience, some of our partners have used it in these ways. Some of them offer it as core credit programs. In the first year, if you look at any institution, any higher education institution in India, the first year program, there's a paper that's called communication skills paper. So it is called as technical English in the technical institutions. It's called communication paper in the arts and science programs. It is called business English or soft skills in the business programs. So every course has a different name, but the objective of that program is development of English. It's giving the student a base to understand their English, to improve their English as listening, speaking, writing, and the 4 skills that are so what we work with some partners is to ensure that at the end of the training the students take a Cambridge certificate. So they take an exam and they get a certificate. So this gives them the confidence that they will be able to face the world and that they will be able to learn the next years in English in a very confident way. The non-core credit program, so some partners offer this as a value-added program. So somewhere as in the first year or in the second year, the students are offered this program. There's a seminar that is run for the students, and all the students are asked to do as a part of the non-core credit system, the non-CBCS credit system. Some institutions, some especially B schools, use it at the placement training part. So in the final year, when they're doing the soft skill training or the EEP, the Employability Enhancement Program, students are normally expected to do this as part of the students are normally expected to take a certificate at the end of their program. Some institutions go to the extent of saying, if they complete a Cambridge certificate and they give it to the placement department, then only they can apply for placement within the institution. If you could also look at it from another angle, you could run courses for speaking course, or you could, if you're doing it for external students or students from not your institution, you could run it as a speaking course, you could run it as a language enhancement course, and you can offer a certificate from Cambridge at the end of it. So these are the different ways in which you can place the program or place the certificate in your program. And so the benefits of collaborating with Cambridge. The first thing is your learning outcomes are now connected to an international benchmark. So the CEFR, which is the normal standard, all universities, international universities, use IELTS as a benchmark when they're recruiting students. So here you will also be able to say our students are at that level, are at a level that is equivalent to an international level. You could choose, like Ian was talking, a B1 level or a B2 level, but you will be able to say our students are going out at this level. This is the entry level for our students. This is the exit level. So this actually adds to the corporate and the global recognition for your student. Your student, during our earlier survey, we realized almost 23% of you said your ambition, that one of the goals that you had was that your students you want your students to go abroad to learn. So if they are going abroad, and 47% said that they were looking at placements in India. So almost a 70% outcome that you want your learning to be outcome. So your learning is going to be at an international standard, and that is recognized because they have a certificate from one of the oldest and the best institutions in the world, the University of Cambridge. There is a revenue stream there. In days where revenue is uncertain and the revenues are not going up and they're all thing downward, here is a model where your students, there is a revenue that you can generate, and that is useful for the management. The NIRF ranking systems, they give you points for international collaboration, And these points are applicable when you sign up with the university, with our body. Again, there is that added advantage of Cambridge branding that you have. You have the Cambridge branding, you get a logo that you can use. I will just go to the next slide to show you some. So if you become a preparation center, you will get a preparation center logo that is like this, which says we prepare for Cambridge exams. You have a certificate if you register 100 or plus students during a year, and this logo can be used in any of your marketing advertisements on your websites. You will be able to use it. If you become an authorized partner, you will be able to use the authorized center logo in all your marketing communication. So that is a benefit on the branding side, that you will be able to brand. We know of institutions in India across, I will bring their names up later, but there are institutions who actually go out and say, all my students are at a B1 level of Cambridge certified students. All my students are at B2 level. This is in their placement document. They have a line like that. That is to show how good the English is in their college. The quality of English that is being taught of their college is certified using Cambridge. From a student perspective, we have an app where the students can learn English. There are actually two interesting apps. There's an app called Quiz Your English. That's a game. So students, as a learning activity, you can tell the teacher will tell the student, go out and choose this topic. They'll give a topic and they'll say, in this topic, you will have to play, you have to score this many points, or you do 20 games. So you come back, and that's learning. Once the game is like, there are 5 questions, students answer the 5 questions, and they're pitted against somebody you don't know who they will be pitted against. It can be somebody from the world, and at the end of it, at the end of the 5 questions, the person who's answered the correct number of questions, highest number of questions, gets to win the competition. And so like that, they have to have competitions. Again, we have an app for Beck, which is called the Business English app. Again, that's an app where you can prepare for Cambridge certifications. There's a lot of learning. There's a lot of other free activities that are available online, as we have vocabulary lists that you can use, a lot of videos that Ian was talking about. Again, there's a plethora of resources for teachers that the teachers can use. For example, there's a Write and Learn that he was talking about. The Write and Learn, again, can be used in your classroom. You don't have to mark it. It's auto-marked. You just choose a topic, tell your students to go and write on the topic. The students will be given an overview of what were their errors in a sentence level, in a word level, in a grammar level. So they will be, all those markings will be shared with the student, and the feedback will be given to the student directly, as well as feedback shared with the faculty to see how a student is progressing. In India, we have collaborated with several government institutions. We work with AICTE. We signed an MOU with AICTE. We worked with Scope in Gujarat, where we work with them to help improve their language levels. In Madhya Pradesh, we worked with the Higher Education Department, where we trained 2,500 students in government colleges to improve their language and get a certificate. We worked with the Directorate of Technical Education in Tamil Nadu, where we signed up with all their technical institutions to subscribe to a Cambridge certification. In Cambridge English signed an MOU with AICTE, and the objective of the MOU was faculty development and global certification for them. And this basically was, how do you teach English, teach in the medium of English? So they felt, AICTE felt that the teachers had a challenge when they had to teach in English. So how do they teach in English, and how they use the language when they're teaching, and what skills they need to impart in English. So that was the topic that we worked on. And then we also talked about, the MOU speaks about enhancing student employability. We worked with state universities across India. If you see, we worked with in Pune, we worked with the Pune University and Abdul Kalam University in Kerala, where they gave us CBCS credits. So students who appeared for a program from Cambridge would be given special credits in the non-core program. Anna University offered it as a value addition to their students. It offered it as a value-added course. Then all the students who completed a technical English program were asked to do a Cambridge certification at the end of the first year certification programs. Your West Bengal University of Technology and the Biju Patnaik University again offered credits, and they recommended these certification for Cambridge from Cambridge to their students. These are some of the partners across India. If I was to walk through India, we have from Noida, we have KIET and Noida Institute of Technology. We have from Gujarat, we have Nirma and RK. From Delhi, we have Birla Institute of Technology, Management and Technology. We have in the East, we have GIFT, Gandhi Institute, and CV Raman. We have Madhya Pradesh, we have Jagran Lake, and we have in Tamil Nadu, we have the Karunya University, the Crescent University. In Andhra, we have Vignan University. So if you look at it, the whole, we've worked with so many partners, and there are many more partners that we've not listed out here. So this is the type of our current profile of institutions we work with, and we hope that we will be able to work with you also in the near future. Now I'm open to question and answers, and we are drawing a close. I will ask my colleagues to come online, and I think we have questions. Thanks, Arun. Thanks, Ian.
Thank you. Arun, would you have a few words to say before we start the question answer?
Yes, thank you very much for, I think we have more than 150 participants who have joined in today. So thank you very much for taking your time out to come in. We hope you found the session informative and find ways to kind of take it back to your teams to collaborate with Cambridge. So we are very keen to kind of make sure we can support you with teacher training, learning resources, and all of that to make sure that we have the students with the right language skills at the end. And as part of this, Cambridge is quite keen to continue this outreach where we can reach out to colleges like yours, universities like yours. We also see a lot of IELTS coaching training centers here. We're quite happy to kind of enable an outreach, so we all can support that. So before we take some of many questions have been marked, I'd like to thank Ian for taking his time out. Unfortunately, our colleague Sue Trory could not join in. She's taken ill. So sorry about that. And thank you very much, Joshua, for taking through the collaboration model. Manish, would you want to take some of these questions and maybe direct to whom, either to Ian or me or yourself, to answer some of these?
Sure. A couple of questions, and I think some seem to be really kind of focusing on the collaboration front there. So I'll take the first question here, and I think Arun, you may want to take it up. Is from Dr. Neeraja Saraswat, and she would like us to elaborate more on the financial implications and the fee for students.
Okay, as Ian and Joshua mentioned, we are a not-for-profit organization. We are a charity. We are not here to franchise out the Cambridge brand. Here in India, we are looking at impact. So there is no question of any financial amount to be paid to offer these questions. What we're interested is we want to partner with genuine institutions who are keen to develop their faculty and their students. We are quite happy to support it. Yes, I think there are two models. So if there is a stage one partnership that Joshua talked about, there is no cost involved. You can work with one of our existing partners. All the services from Cambridge will be made available to your institution, like teacher training, learning resources. You can offer this training program to your students. The only cost is when the students appear for the certification, they'll have to pay the cost of the certification. Either it is Linguaskill or if it is the business English certificate. The other model where you become a center of excellence as a direct partner of Cambridge, then we are looking at you helping not only your own institution, but we are looking at you supporting a hub in your area, you becoming a hub and supporting institutions in your area. Manish, would you want to add anything to this?
No, I think we have similar questions coming up, and maybe that will answer more in detail. We also have the similar question from Prajna Pani. What are the terms and conditions? Arun, again, you may want to answer that.
Yes, I think what's important is the next step. I think I think at the end of this, you'll all get an email. All of you who've joined this will get an email, which will take you through the link of a letter of intent. The documentation will be there that will list out the terms and conditions. And as I said, we are not looking at any commercial input, but we are looking at certain management support. This program has to be supported by your leadership in your institution and the academic team, because you will have to make sure that the right faculty are involved in supporting the learning programs and all of that. So I think at the end of this, you will get the documentation, which is called the letter of intent, that will list out the broad outlines of how this collaboration will work. And I think, as Joshua, my colleague, indicated, there'll be members from the Cambridge team who will be in touch with you post this to help you navigate this further.
Okay. I think this one, Ian, if you can answer that. How is this certification different from BEC? This is from Prasanta Kumar Pati.
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. Really, I think the difference between Linguaskill and some of our other qualifications is the way that it's delivered. So with those of you who are familiar at BEC are fantastic qualifications. They're set at specific levels of the CFR. So we have BEC Preliminary at A2 level, BEC Vantage at a B1 level. And those exams are taken on set dates during the year. The difference with Linguaskill is that it's a multi-level test, as I mentioned, which means that we don't have specific levels like we do with BEC. It's one assessment which can be used across the CFR level. Also, the fact that it's on demand and online means that you can decide when and where the test can be taken. So both are great assessments. Both test English proficiency in a communicative way. It's simply that they are delivered in different ways. One is a level-based assessment, one is a multi-level test. And it really depends on the needs of your institution as to which of those two models suits you best.
Okay. Thank you, Ian, for this. There's another question from Paramjot Kaur Sidhu. Ian, if you can answer this. Also, please, how to practice speaking with computer?
Oh, well, I mean, I would say that the first thing to do is go to our website. I mentioned that we have a product called Speak and Improve. This is a fantastic resource for anybody who wants to learn more about how to interact with the computer and how to take an online speaking test. So Speak and Improve, you can Google it. It gives you lots of free practice in preparing for online speaking tests. We've also got some other great resources on our website. There are some demos of the speaking test. We've also, I mentioned some short videos that we've done, all of which will help you prepare to take an online speaking test.
Okay, thank you, Ian. And I'll take the next question. And this is from Isha Vashisht. How can this be useful for an IELTS institute? So Isha, as you would know, IELTS as well as now Linguaskill, both are from Cambridge Assessment English. Both are mapped as per the CEFR level, and candidates who are preparing, the candidates whom you prepare for IELTS, if you want to map them again as per the CEFR through Linguaskill, which is a much cheaper option to do, which will prepare them and you can see what has been the impact of your training. It can be used as a tool to measure the impact of the training, or it could be used before the training to understand what level the candidates are at and what level of training that you would want to offer them. So that's where, again, you can use the Linguaskill assessment. Good part here is that you can choose your whether you want a listening module to be done or reading or writing or speaking. So that's where it's very flexible, it's on demand, and all the features that Ian talked about. I'll not be going through that. Paucity of time, again, questions on the fee, you can write back to us. Joshua, if you can mention the email address in the chat box for everybody's use. We may not be able to answer all the questions there, but please keep mentioning the email ID where people can write to for further questions.
Manish, I see some questions on, some of them are in Northeast or in remote places. So they're asking,
Yeah,
do we have any target number of institutions? We don't discriminate against any institution. We are happy to support all the institutions who are willing to support their students. So there is no limit on number of institutions. But what we're trying to do is we are trying to create a center of excellence which can support not just your own institution, but in the neighboring areas. So it is not just a short-term arrangement; it's a bit more long-term as well. And the other question that I see here is that what should we do next? Because some of you want this communication to happen with your management. I think the mail ID will be posted on the chat box. I think my colleagues will also be in touch with you post this. I think what will be helpful is if you can organize for a time, then I think the Cambridge team will be in a position to talk to your management as well and try and see how best this program can be introduced and this collaboration can be matured.
sure. More questions on the faculty training and how can. There's a question from Madani in Telangana state and Andhra Pradesh state. We only have one C1 exam center. I think we can address that, and you can write to us, and we can give you more options. Questions on the faculty, and we haven't gone into that in depth, but we have something for the faculty at the higher education institutions, which is a course for developing the language skills specifically designed for higher education institutions. You can write to us, and we'll be happy to share more details with you. Any other questions, burning questions? I think most are
Just
related to
add
finance.
to what you said on the faculty training. Normally, we would have done face-to-face training. We would invite the faculty to apply, attend workshops. But nowadays, we are doing it remotely, which means that your faculty can attend these programs from wherever they are, and we are able to reach the Cambridge teacher training programs across the whole length and breadth of India. So faculty training is something that we are committed to. So feel free to get the address, contact us. We'll be more than happy to support you with your teacher training initiatives.
Great. Do you have any conditions regarding the number of students who should register? Yes, based on the number of students who would want to sit for the exam, we have suggested the two pathways, and we can help you more on that, Roselia. Depends on what are the numbers that you are looking at. I think we have exceeded the time. Their questions keep coming in. We will be happy to answer them one-to-one. Also, feel free to write to us. And there are questions on, can you share any material in depth? I mean, there's lots of material available, resources, information available on our website. And we will write the website address in the chat box again. CambridgeEnglish.org is a website where you can get more information about. And I think that's about it. It's 10 minutes over the time that we had agreed for. We would again like to thank you all. Arun, anything else from your side? Ian, Arun, or Joshua?
That's it. Thank you very much. I think it's been wonderful questions from all of you. We've have the questions. I've posted Manish's email ID. It's manish@cambridgeenglish.in. Feel free to write to him, and the team will be more than happy to answer. So I'd like to thank all the colleagues from Cambridge, Apurv, Ian, Manish, Joshua, who have supported this initiative. We really value the kind of contribution you could all make it today. And I think for some of you not able to attend, we'll probably also send you a video recording. So if you want, you can share it with your other colleagues as well, in case you would want to take it further with your institution. We're seeing a lot of good universities who are participating today. We want to make sure that we are in a position to support you. Thank you once again.
Just on the closing note, please everybody note that you would be expecting an email from us. So please have a look out at your email addresses. Soon after the webinar ends, like in 2 hours, you will be receiving the LOI document. I do see that some of the people are asking for brochures, etc. We'll make sure that those are also accompanied with the email. And with that, thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you.